Paul, McGuire, Grimes, A, B, C, Minneapolis. Jude, it is such an honor getting to talk to you today. You're really terrific in the order, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you for the time today. I appreciate
My
it.
pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, I one of the things I loved about this news, I felt like this looks and just feels very different from for a role from you. And this wasn't the Jude Law that I'm kind of used to watching. Did you feel that way reading the script, or did that come with working with Justin, what you envisioned this character to be?
The potential was in the script, and I'm always curious to find roles that I haven't embodied or played before. And then in the development with Justin Kurzel, the director, it was clear that there were whole areas we could go into, and yeah, this is what came out. It's always the challenge is to make the person plausible and to fit into the world or in an authentic way. So you don't always know where that's going to lead you.
It's the joy of being an actor. You don't know what the final product is going to be as you
That's
start.
right.
I love
That's
that. I
right.
love it.
It's only really when you're, I would say, a quarter way through where you suddenly think, okay, I think I know this person. And then, of course, you can still be surprised
Right.
because you don't always know what a scene's going to bring out of you or him or it.
Yeah, no, I love that journey as an actor. I think that this story obviously feels so topical, especially the rise in anti-Semitism right now, the rise in hate right now in this country. How do you protect your own mindset while working on material like this, day in and day out while working on this film? How do you protect yourself from it?
Well, honestly, it feels healthy to keep discussing it. I think one of the reasons we thought it was an important story to tell was because, first of all, few people knew about it. It's a historical piece. It's based on true events, but it has this incredible, uncomfortable relevance to today and the global rise around the world of this kind of mindset. And it seemed important to look at it and not paint it in a kind of good guy, bad guy simplicity, but rather to understand why people behave the way they do, why they make the decisions. Is it the environment? Is it the lack of education? What is it that makes people make these choices? And the film's full of people looking at forks and making a decision to go down one route or another, and what does it cost? Because even Husk has made a decision to go down the fork of law enforcement, but it's cost him his marriage, it's cost him his health, his sort of his life in many ways. And then there are other characters who have made decisions in entirely opposite directions.
Yeah, it's fascinating to watch. You're a producer on the film as well. What do you love about doing that behind the scenes work on top of acting?
Well, it's really just empowering people to do their job well and giving them the space to do such. With this, it was a thrill just to be able to bring this story to life and be a part of that, to help develop it, and develop the characters certainly, and then it's wonderful being a part of the process of drawing on a team. Obviously the big part of that was getting Justin Kurzel to direct it. He was the one person we really wanted, and he was just the perfect fit, and I think has elevated the piece. And then the cast, you choose a team that you know will care about it as much as you do.
Yeah, and you feel that with all the actors. I want to end on this light note. I have to watch The Holiday every year, wrapping Christmas presents. It's a must. So thank you for being a part of my holidays as well. So
I'm
thank you.
so pleased. Well,
Um,
happy holidays.
Amazing. So thank you. And thanks for the time today, Jude. I appreciate it. Paul, McGuire, Grimes, A, B, C, Minneapolis. Jurnee, I talked to you for Birds of Prey, and it's really great seeing you again.
Hi.
Hey, and I really enjoyed the order. It's really well done. So thank you for the time today.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, when you get a script like this that feels so timely, so important due to just the rise in hate and anti-Semitism in this country, did you latch onto that quickly in order to tell this story, or do you fear sitting in that headspace for a few months?
Anyone who knows my work knows that I never fear,
Yeah.
sitting in that headspace of parts of our history that are dark or ugly. I am drawn and very curious as to how we got to where we are today. And I think some of these stories, when we experience it, when we, live it for a few hours, it illuminates a side of humanity and gives us a level of understanding of our history that I think is essential. So, no, I was not afraid of it at all. It was actually, it was something that attracted me to the project.
I love hearing that. And we saw that especially, I think, with Lovecraft Country when you did that a few
Mm,
years ago. And I
yeah.
still wish that would have come back. Not to bring that up, but that was so good.
Thank
As
you.
you're filming this and as you're going through it and thinking about this, how do you protect your own mindset day in and day out at the end of a long day of being in there?
It's interesting because that was a question I asked some of the special agents that I interviewed. How do you not take the cases home? And a lot of them said, most of them said, they just did, unfortunately. And I could really relate to that. I don't know that I've mastered that part of my craft yet. A work in progress because it does show up in my dreams, when you're researching it and reading books like The Silent Brotherhood. That level of bigotry and hatred is so depressing. It's so ugly, right? And yet with our film, one of the things I think our filmmakers do so well is unravel the story in a way that really takes us on a ride of understanding how we as a nation got to where we are. I think in order for us to understand our present or our future, we have to know our past.
History is so important, and I don't think people think about that enough. And I love that you keep bringing that up. Your director, Justin, brought such a focused and I think specific approach to this film that I think you see it throughout all of your cast members. As your leader and director, what qualities did he bring to make this so cohesive and focused?
He has such a soft brushstroke in his approach. Less is more. The first day on set, the makeup artist had put like some sunscreen and, like some concealer on me. He said, go wash it off. And I loved it. It was so freeing to play in the sandbox with him. It was all about the character, the interpersonal relationships. He would do fun things, to throw us off. There's a scene where Jude and I are in the bar, and in between one of the takes, he turns on Toto by Africa. Africa by Toto, and says, Jurnee, Jude, get up and slow dance. And we did. And then he said action from that. It's constantly about finding the truth and the personality, the characters, the stakes. What does this mean to him or her? And what are they willing to sacrifice? That's what he's constantly seeking.
Yeah, absolutely. I got the wrap. Jurnee, great seeing you again. Thank you for this film, and I hope people get a lot out of it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Paul, McGuire, Grimes, ABC, Minneapolis. Tye, it is always great talking to you. I've talked to you a few times, so thank you for the time today. I really enjoyed the order. It's really well done. So
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Yeah, good to see
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, good to see you again. Now, when you get a script like this, the story feels so timely, so relevant with just the rise in hate in this country. Do you see that and think, I need to run to this to bring this to people's attention? Or do you think, I don't know if I can sit in that headspace for a few months as we shoot this?
Well, I mean, it's, I'm definitely looking for films that feel universal in themes, not only specific to the U.S., but to the world, that feel like they could be released anywhere at any point in time and feel like they resonate with audiences. And I think this film is that. It's based on a true story about a domestic terror group from Idaho in the 80s who spun out of the Aryan Nation and are trying to start a revolution. And it's really about the good guys versus bad guys, but it's much more than just about that. It's about family and it's about community and what end people are willing to go to defend their community and really defend democracy and defend a nation.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you get a chance to talk to any police officers, FBI agents, just to learn about like that life and that job, and how do you not take that home at the end of the day?
Well, my character kind of gets pulled into this. I mean, he's he's a young deputy at a small sheriff's department, so he's very green. It's not like he's been working at the FBI for 10 years. So I didn't really I didn't speak to a lot of FBI agents or anything like that in preparation for the role, because I kind of didn't want to know much about that world because that's, kind of the journey of the character. But what we did do is we got together, we shot the movie in Calgary, and we got together with basically the SWAT of Calgary and the tactical team. And they showed us Jude and I, how to clear rooms and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. So there's like some tactical training, which I enjoyed. And yeah, other than that, it was mostly preparation for the role is, just meditating on, family, what it would be like to feel like there's a direct threat to your family and your community from the people within your community. You know, it's a kind of a strange, complex thing. So that's mostly where I spent my time and energy preparing
Yeah,
for
and
it.
I don't even know how you sometimes grapple with that. But the joy of the actor is, going and trying new things like learning a police tactical squad. Like, I think that's really cool. I'd read that you talked a lot about your character finding balance between work, community, family. How do you, Ty, find balance in your own life and all the little jobs and roles that you play in life?
Well, I think the coolest thing about being an actor is you kind of get to live a lot of different lives, right? You get to learn new things each time you take on a new role. So that's cool. I'm the type of guy who likes, learning new things and meeting new people and hearing new stories and being fulfilled by, that. There's always something to learn. And then there are things that I like to do, with either spending time with my family or enjoying the outdoors or whatever that I've always liked to do, So it's, I think I definitely have that balance. But it's important. It's important to have that balance. Sometimes work is busy and, you want to make the best of it. And there's a time and a place for that in your life. And I think you just have to be calculated about that and, cognizant of, when you're spending more time working or when you're spending more time relaxing. So I think it's just a matter of moderation and, being cognizant of the balance.
Yeah, and being so chill about it. So I got the wrap. Thanks, Ty. I appreciate your time today, and I hope people get a lot out of this movie.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good talking to you.
Yeah, you too. Take care. Paul, McGuire, Grimes, A, B, C, Minneapolis. Justin, it is really great talking to you today. I really enjoyed the order, and it was just so topical. So thank you for telling this story. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, now you've got a fantastic cast led by Jude Law, who's so terrific in this. Describe him as a collaborator, both as an actor and as one of the main producers on the film.
Well, he's someone that I was desperate to work with, and also sort of found this role to be very different from what he'd played before, and that's what excited him. And yeah, so we sort of got together and sort of talked about it, and and it's always wonderful when an actor wants to invest being a producer as well. There's something great about being on set and working as a sort of director actor, and then to be able to kind of then after the take go, actually there's some challenges here for the next week's kind of setups that I need your help on. And he was always sort of wonderful in that, because it can be a really quite lonely experience kind of directing a film, and it was sort of wonderful having all the producers involved actually, but especially Jude, being able to kind of lean on him and involve him with some of the challenges that I had was great.
That's great. I absolutely agree. Like, this is a role that's so different from Jude, and I felt like I was not seeing the Jude I'm used to. And I told him that, and I think he was very appreciative of that. It's a great role for him. All of your actors have talked about how you are so great at finding the truth in these characters, and I'm thinking, how do you as a director find that truth, especially for characters like the one Nicholas Hoult plays, who is just so vile and racist? How do you understand that in order to then direct your actors to that?
Yeah, well, I think we just have really open conversations about kind of who that character is. I mean, a lot of the conversations with Nick about sort of, well, what is Bob Matthews' pull? What is the thing that really large numbers of people started to be engaged with and started to kind of interact with him, and and even sort of joining his sort of army. So there's a certain sort of pull and that you want to sort of interrogate. So a lot of the conversations were about that. And then I did these sort of little manifestos where I get them to do things. There'd be 100 things for you to do. And one of them, I think Nick's talked about this before, was, I want you to follow Jude for the day, so that's what they did. They each of them, unbeknownst to the other, kind of followed each other, to watch and observe and kind of see what it was like to kind of hide in plain sight a little bit and kind of, have your sort of focus on someone else for a whole day. And, it sounds a bit sort of silly, but actually it sort of opens up something, and you can kind of feel, the shoes a little bit more of the person that you're sort of playing, and have some sort of ownership over that character a bit that, I think you get a bit more rather than sort of sitting there thinking and sort of reading. I always sort of find doing things with an actor and allowing them to sort of, have a sort of energy in terms of investigating that character is always really, really exciting.
Yeah, Jurnee told me a story about how you made her and Jude just slow dance to Toto's Africa just to kind of shake up the scene a little bit. So I think that's really clever and useful. And this idea about hiding in plain sight, that is fascinating. And I got that from this film. This story is so topical. And I feel like given the rise in anti-Semitism and hate in the world right now, how do you just protect yourself, your mindset on set after a long day shooting so that you don't live in that space for too long?
Yeah, it's really a challenging thing. Like I've done some pretty heavy films in the past and about some pretty kind of ugly characters, but there is something about when you're sort of making a film, it sort of becomes something different, and the characters become they become part of your film and part of the kind of vision of it. So there's always this sort of interesting distance that happens from the true stories. But yeah, every now and again, you are really sort of reminded of the, of the enormity of what you're doing, and also sort of the reality of what you're doing. I mean, I guess that day where Nick had to kind of speak to his sort of gathering of people and kind of spout out all this sort of hate speech. I mean, that was one of those days that I felt the story in a much more kind of visceral and kind of real way, and kind of understood the kind of there was a lot of pressure there in terms of trying to sort of get this right, or really trying to tonally get it right, and be on the be with that character and understand kind of the pull of that character, but also it's a scene that is just sort of naturally really confronting. And you feel it in that room, the sort of what it must have been like.
I'm 100%. I'm getting the wrap. Justin, thank you for the time. Thank you for telling the story. And I hope people get a lot out of it. And how do we think about that right now? So thank you.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.